Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over the scheduled ban and restricted announcement that came out 2 days ago. I previously went over this in the Give and Take podcast on DM Armada's channel, which I'll be linking down below. Definitely go check out the VOD of that. It was a fun time, but I also wanted to get my thoughts on my own channel and just kind of get your feedback as a community on what you think on it and just kind of, have a good discussion. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you enjoy your stay. Feel free to check out my other videos. I'm doing a good How to Arachne series, as well as other content. I'll be having a video go out every day from now until like January 2nd right now. We're trying to end the year strong. So be on the lookout for that. If you're a long-standing supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Patreon and the Discord down below. So before I get into this, I want to say one thing. Just because I disagree with something doesn't mean I'm upset with the game or think LSS is wrong or any of this. Like, it's just my opinion, right? I think sometimes people think that those two things can't coexist, that you can't disagree but also see the other side. Just to put that out there, because on Twitter there was some wild things being said and going on, but overall it's fine. We'll get right into it though. So this came out on the 18th, basically 2 days ago at this point in the U.S. time. It is implemented as of this Friday, the 22nd, and we'll kind of go down the list here and just kind of talk about each section. So class constructed having no changes makes complete sense. We're in the lull of the competitive period, post-Worlds. There's no reason to make a change pre-heavy hitters. There's no meta to have to shift or change or whatever. There's a couple battle hardens, a couple little tournaments here. We had the Realm and stuff like that, but overall, the meta is actually in a really good spot. The little tournaments we've had 7 or 8 heroes in the top 8 of pretty much every tournament. I know it sounds like a broken record because people said it several times over the game's history, but I really do think right now this is the most balanced format we've had. Kano had a little bit of a fun in the sun, and people don't like seeing Kano be good, but really Kano just has a good meta for the hero right now, and I think people need to be okay with that. I'm glad they did no changes. It makes complete sense. Not going to really harp on that. For Blitz, Ether Wildfire goes from banned to legal. Sterile Aether Winds goes from banned to legal because of Kano hitting Living Legend. You technically can use these in Emperor now. I don't think Wildfire is that good in Emperor, but I think Sterile Aether Winds is actually pretty decent. We'll have to see. But the biggest news for Blitz is that Centauri Saber will become the signature weapon for new Kasai and will be legal for the release of heavy hitters on February 2nd. Their reasoning is, finally, we turn to the question of Centauri Saber and Blitz. When Kasai, the young version, becomes a legal hero and Blitz upon the release of heavy hitters, her signature weapon will be the Saber. As such, Saber will once again be legal for official tournament play in Blitz. I have no issues with this. I'm glad they did it. Saber is so indicative to how Kasai wants to play, even the new version. If you don't give her Saber, she has to use Jubel or Quicksilver Dagger, right? Really, Quicksilver Dagger is the only thing she could use in a weapons-based build. So I'm glad that they did this. It makes complete sense. Of note, it will be interesting at some point, right? Let's say Briar LL's in Blitz, and then they bring in Briar 2.0. Are they, Rosetta Thorn's a broken weapon, right? So you're going to bring Rosetta Thorn back? Probably not. They'll probably do a different weapon. It's not that big of a point, but it is a fun, interesting thing to think about when you have a hero that had a really good weapon like Briar. Do you bring that back, right? So, at any rate, happy with the Blitz changes. Now we get to the juicy stuff, right? The stuff that everybody was kind of in discourse about. And I know I have an opinion that not a lot of people agree with, which is completely fine. I'm not saying I'm right, you're wrong, or anything like that. It's just how I feel. So, Living Legend said they ended up restricting 6 cards to a 1-of. 7 cards. Sorry, 7. I can't count. 7 cards to a 1-of. You may only include one of these in your deck. Awakening, Channeling Frigid, Crippling Crush, Hypothermia, Oakenold, Starstruck, and Warmonger's Diplomacy. Let's talk about their reasoning before I give my opinion, because if I just give my opinion without going over the reasoning with you, it doesn't make sense, right? One said the Battle Hard in Barcelona, the community made their stance abundantly clear. Living Legend format plays a vital role. And also was made clear the fact that Bravo Star of the show remains every bit of power outliers he was during Classic Constructed. Yes, the hero is broken, absolutely disgusting. It's ridiculous. However, despite the most dominant tournament performance we've ever seen, players still seem to come away to the event with a smile on their face and desire to play the more games for the Living Legend format. So I'm going to be a little bit critical here, okay? Or I'm going to be a little bit, not critical, more inquisitive, right? James White replied to my tweet and said that it was overwhelmingly a fact that players gave him feedback directly at World saying that they were excited to play Bravo Star of the Show. My question is, why were they excited to play Bravo Star of the Show, right? Are they excited because of the hero's thematics? Are they excited because of the hero power and like feeling powerful? Or, I'm just going to be straight up honest, and I could be wrong here, are they excited because they can just dunk on everyone, right? If it's not a Starvo mirror, which is pretty skill intensive, you literally just destroy everyone you play. And so, like, are players excited just because, like, and I mean this like in a fun TCG way because people like doing this. Like, are they excited just because they like doing degenerate stuff? like, and if the answer is yes, well, then you have a question to ask as a developer. And this is an LSS thing, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's what they feel is best. Is that good for the game? Is that good for Living Legend format, right? Because some people might say it's not good for Living Legend format, and some people say it might be. It all depends. Now, James White said that the whole point of Living Legend format is to do the most powerful things, right? That is why they're keeping Starvo, because he said that is Starvo. Starvo is power in Flesh and Blood. And I agree. You should be able to do the most powerful things. My comment was, if it's this degenerate to the fact where you have to restrict 6 cards, 4 of them not even being a Starvo-based card originally, should you just ban the hero? But we'll talk about that. Yeah, here, like it says, people enjoy doing powerful things in the game of Flesh and Blood, and Living Legend is a format where those power fantasies can be showcased. In the case Starvo, we just need that to play out less frequently. In the case of, well, every other hero, we need those fantasies to play out more frequently. This is where I have a problem, and I'm going to get a little critical here, and it's fine. Like, I'm not trying to be combative. I'm just giving an opinion. You say you want Starvo to do it less frequently, but you want either other heroes to do it more frequently. Well, for Bravo, you just completely, like, absolutely tanked what Bravo wants to do. Bravo's biggest card just got restricted, so Bravo can't do things more frequently, right? Icelander, Shannon Lake Frigid just got restricted. She can't do powerful things more frequently. Hypothermia got restricted. She can't, even though I think Hypothermia shouldn't be in the game. But like you cut the legs out from one Living Legend hero, cut part of the legs. With these two, you cut another thing with Starstruck and Crippling Crush, Bravo's 2 most premier powerful attacks. He only can run 2 in the deck right now. So if you want other heroes to do it more frequently, well, you're touching an attack that prevents other heroes from doing it more frequently, right? It's kind of a conflicting ideology, right? It doesn't make sense to me. Now, before we keep going down, I do agree. Some of these I agree with. Like, in my opinion, Awakening and Hypothermia shouldn't be in the game. Both of those cards require 0 setup. Even Awakening, people argue, well, you have to manage life total. No, you just have to not block 1 turn. That's it. Like, that's literally it. And then Awakening's online. It doesn't take setup. You just park it in Arsenal, and then when you have a decent hand, you don't block, and the game is completely flipped on its head. Hypothermia, especially with Icelander, takes 0 setup. You just put it in Arsenal, and bam, it's over. Yes, there is some skill expression on when to play it, but really you can play it whenever. So that being said, anyway, with them saying that they want Starvo to do it less frequently, I understand that. But then just make these restricted to Starvo. Just say Starvo can only run 1 of these and keep it in play for others. Because when you say here, we need those fantasies to play out more frequently for other heroes, well, you just completely restricted the power of 2 to 3 heroes in Oldheim, or definitely in Bravo and Icelander, and a little bit of Oldheim. So that to be what it is. With this going by, we begin our management of the Living Legend format with the liberal use of the restricted list rather than typical bans. A registered deck can contain up to 1 copy of this card. We like Living Legend format to be a place where you can continue to play all your cards in a balanced metagame as circumstances of the format allow us to create. However, we recognize that some power outliers may make this an impossibility. If that's true, you can rest easy knowledge that we will use the bans as necessary. So this is where I am giving them credit. Like, right now, I think that this is kind of a heavy hand on purpose. They want to see how it goes, and then they might fall back. They might say, okay, they might, even though James Wright said on Twitter, unlikely that they'll do hero-centric bans, they might figure out, like, this sucks for, like, other heroes. Maybe we just make it Starvo. My one opinion, the TLDR of this whole thing, is Starvo should just be banned from the game. I know that they want Starvo to be the premier, like, face of Living Legend early on to keep it going. I know people like to play it because it's a degenerate deck. I just think it's bad for the game, but that's a TCG talk opinion that doesn't necessarily mean it's right. It's just my opinion. It's just they're like Living Legend format should be. One thing I want to say is Living Legend format should be a means to play your favorite hero once it ascends, right? And like not I don't care. One thing that James White, he responded to my tweet and he totally misunderstood what I was saying. I made a point of saying that, Starvo should just be banned, that if we have to restrict 6 cards in order to just slightly lower the power level of Starvo, and which also undercuts 3 other heroes, why not just ban the hero? My point wasn't we need a balanced metagame or every hero should be playable. My thought was you shouldn't have to undercut 3 heroes just to undercut one. Just ban the one instead of hurting 3 others, right? That doesn't make sense to me. It has nothing to do with balance. It just has to do with like principle. Anyway, they said as for the individual cards making their way in today's list, no single card in the history of Flesh Blood offers greater efficiency and catch-up potential than Awakening. Makes complete sense. Awakening and Hypothermia should just be banned, in my opinion. I know they want to be able to do powerful things. They want to give you the chance. The one thing about Restricted, and we'll see how it plays out in Flesh and Blood, it might be different. Hopefully it is. But when I've played other card games that had restricted risks, like basically Bandai games, right? Or like My Hero Academia, One Piece, Digimon's a big one. And the problem with restricted cards, especially a lot of them, is you start to create these casino games. It's literally like, do you find your stupid card before I find my stupid card? If you do, you win. That's literally what it comes down to most of the time. It might be different in Flesh and Blood since there's so much value put on every individual card. However, it's a good chance it could happen. The trio of Oakenol, Crippling Concussion, and Starstruck comprise a selection of Starver's most brutal, disruptive attacks. While only Oakenol really stands out as a true power outlier, restricting this card alone would not have been large enough reduction. I agree. To Starver's opponents. Yes, Starstruck and Crippling Concussion are less efficient cards than Oakenol, but when Starver's chain disruption efficiency stops mattering, you simply don't get enough active participant in the game. As a heavy-handed approach as this may seem, it's very plausible this is not the end-to-our reduction of Starver's disruptive attacks. Any powerful on-hit Starvo list should consider itself as a warning node. So you're just going to keep restricting cards. Doesn't make sense. Just ban the hero. Are you just going to keep undercutting? I'm a little bit emphatic about this, and I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you're just going to keep restricting cards and keep undercutting other heroes and other archetypes just to try to make this one like poster boy playable. Just ban the hero. Like, it's so funny. While Channeling Frigid, Hypothermia, and Warmonger's Diplomacy all feature in Starver's decks, the restriction of these 3 cards is intended to have direct impact on other decks, as well as emphasize the goals of the format. When you sit down to play a game of Living Legend, you're supposed to be able to do exciting and powerful things. While you shouldn't be able to operate with impunity and threat of disruption should loom, you need to occasionally get away with whatever degeneracy your deck is designed to create. So this, to me, tells me what their like actual purpose of Living Legend format is. Like, to me, the purpose of Living Legend format should be give every hero a chance. Like, you get to play your hero even after it ascends, so you don't lose interest in the game. I think that's partially what their purpose is, but their purpose is just to let people do big, dumb, stupid stuff. And I don't think people, in my opinion, could be wrong. Please come back to me in this video in 6 to 12 months if I'm wrong. People are going to get tired of that a little bit. Like, it's just going to become like historic or like legacy in MTG, and it's going to become where like no one wants to play because it's just 1 and 2 card freaking combo cards. Because as we expand this card pool in this game, you're going to get more powerful cards added to the Living Legend pool, which is just going to make you're just going to keep restricting and banning cards, and it's just going to get really dumb. Honestly, right now, I think if they just ban Starvo, they have a really fun format that can do really fun and powerful things, like really hit what they want to do, but not have the complete and utter unplayable degeneracy that Starvo has. So all this overall, I won't go through every little thing right here. The one thing I do like is that they're 100% committed to Living Legend format, and they see as important, albeit more occasional part of the competitive ecosystem going forward. I hope they hit this hard because I think a good Living Legend system is really what's going to make this game go up to the next level from a competitive standpoint, because it's going to allow people to keep interest in the game, right? If you have a one-tricker, they're not going to lose interest the second their hero goes away. If you actually have Living Legend callings, Living Legend side events, like big ones, it's marketed, it has a prize pool attached to it a little bit. Like, I think that could be really cool. I would love to see Living Legend be a part of the format if they can make it balanced enough at Worlds at some point. I would love to see like 3 rounds of Living Legend. That'd be really cool. But teach their own. But yeah, that's my overall thought. Like the final thoughts on Living Legend. I don't like the restricted cards. Just ban them. I think Hypothermia needs to be banned and Awakening needs to be banned. I don't think Channeling Frigid should have been touched. This completely undercuts what Icelander's power turns can do because she already doesn't have other cards. The fact that Channeling Frigid is restricted but Amulet of Ice isn't is really funny to me. It sucks to see these 2 cards gone because it just hurts Bravo. This card just hurts Oldheim, right? Being restricted. Like, just make them restricted to Starvo. Like, it's no different as far as like how confusing it is. And then Warmongers, I get this because there's literally 2 heroes in Living Legend right now that are unplayable as long as this card's a thing. So I get it. I wish it was like this in CC2, but really it's meta dependent, right? They feel the need because of the current state of the meta in LL to restrict this card. You don't really have to do it right now in CC, so I get why they didn't. Anyway, Commoner, Amulet of Ice is banned, Stubby Hammers is banned. I'm glad they keep making changes to Commoner. I hope they keep making changes to Commoner. Like, I want to see Commoner played more. Like, we have like Pauper and Magic that's actually pretty popular. No pun intended. And I think that'd be cool to see Commoner continue to get like side events, like substantial changes, stuff like that. I think it'd be really cool. But that was pretty much the main things in the ban announcement, restricted announcement. Like I said, I even though I disagree with this stuff, I want to see how this shapes out the next year, right? Like, do people stop caring because Starvo's not in the game? Or do people just play other decks because they're like, oh, I can't play my Degenerate deck. I'm just going to play something else now. You know what I mean? Like, I think I would love to know the reason people played Starvo, because I'm pretty sure it's because the deck is just dummy good and people wanted to dunk on people. That's my guess. I mean, what TCG player doesn't want to do that? You know what I mean? But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. I know people had various opinions. A lot of people didn't agree with me, which is completely fine. I would love to hear y'all's comments regardless. But yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If not me, it's totally fine. Go in our Flesh Mode career, leave a like, comment, subscribe on their stuff so we can get more people to see in this game. And I'll see y'all next time on TC Talk. Thank y'all so much.